Now, this interview should be very interesting. Relationship expert Shan Thumbran has released a book titled Dating Readiness. Now, this is a book that reveals the best-kept secrets when it comes to dating, courtship and marriage. Now, the book highlights the different levels of being in a relationship and includes written tests to actually test your understanding after each chapter. Now, the author of the book, Shan Thumbran, is a renowned life and executive coach as well as a full-time minister, and he joins me now in studio to tell us more about this book. A very good morning to you, Shan. Thank you so much for joining us.
What an honor to be with you, Simpiwe, and the rest of South Africa.
Indeed, absolutely. Now, Dating Readiness focuses on relation and relationship dynamics.
Yes.
Why do you deem it fit to write such a book?
I wrote the book for several important reasons. Number one, and this is a bit on the negative, is when you consider the divorce factor. So when we look at divorce and the devastating effects that divorce has on a, well, first, as it rips a couple apart from this union, that the bond they once shared, and of course the effects it has on the children and so forth. And so divorce is something you wouldn't want even to wish on your worst enemy. And so when you look at the stats, and I think it was South African Stats released something in 2015, I mean, it's alarming. And you look at the consequences of that, and so something has got to be done. And so I wrote the book with the hope to enhance or prepare people for this important thing called marriage, and with the intention to, of course, reduce or eliminate, if possible, the divorce factor. That's number one. And then on the lighter side, I wrote Dating Readiness for that individual, that girl who's never dated. The only person, she's as innocent as a snowflake, and the only person she's ever dated was her father. I've got three beautiful daughters, and so I've been very motivated by that. Even the gentleman. And so the question is, I want to get the dating game right. I see what's going out there in the world, and I want to be successful in the dating or the relationship game. And so I wrote the book for that individual. I wrote the book for Dating Readiness for a couple who is already dating. And the question they're asking is, are you the person that I see myself spending the rest of my life with? And so they want to know, are we ready to go to the next level? And that's not marriage, that's courtship. So I wrote the book for that couple that are dating and want to go to the next level. I wrote Dating Readiness as well for the couple that are courting. Now, courting is it's an exciting season in your life. It's a very fragile, risky season. But most folks don't have a model, and therefore they end up marrying, and they have all this unnecessary pressure. And so Dating Readiness was really written to prepare the individual or the couple for this big commitment called marriage. And that's why I wrote the book.
Now, having said that, I'm glad you actually touched on the issue of marriage and courtship. Is it really a must for a couple who has been in a relationship for very long, say for instance for a decade? Is it really a must to take that relationship a step further, marriage or courtship, for instance?
I believe it depends which season you're in, but 10 years in a relationship without tying the knot is something I personally would not advise. That's what you call cohabiting, and statistically, the stats are, I think, 1,200% high of couples cohabiting. And the reason for that is that people have really lost hope regarding the institution of marriage. Again, you look at the sad, alarming rate of people getting divorced and people living unhappily married. So who wants to get married? But the good news is this. Marriage it really is a truly blessed covenant. And I believe, I want to get to your answer, but I just want to say that I think people enter this commitment with being unprepared and with the lack of proper knowledge for this big commitment. And so I can tell you now, 10 years living with someone is very risky, because statistically people that live together, and especially when they are sexually, emotionally intimate, stand a greater chance of divorce when they finally do decide to tie the knot. So let's take it a step back. 10 years, the question is 10 years together. Should we live so long together before we get to know each other or make the big decision to get married? I strongly disagree, and I'll tell you why. If a person understands, or a couple understands, a purpose for dating, and again, it's all there in the book, dating, the purpose for dating, the purpose for courting, this will greatly and significantly enhance your chances of romantic or marriage success.
Just to interrupt you
Yes,
there,
sir.
let's be honest with each other. So many people out there, you will agree with me, that they feel that marriage is just not important. It's nothing but a piece of paper that has been signed by both parties and administered by a pastor. It does nothing to the love or the bond that they share.
I strongly disagree with most people, because marriage is not a contract. Marriage is a covenant. It is a solemn, sacred agreement between two parties that is indissoluble. It should have been indissoluble. I think the challenge is when people enter marriage with the wrong mentality, contract versus covenant. And although, this book prepares you for marriage, but I think, again, just entering marriage with the right perception, and therefore premarital counseling is so vital, so important. In premarital counseling, and I had the privilege of experiencing premarital counseling, most people misunderstand the reason for premarital counseling. They think it's this minister or pastor or the spiritual person trying to convince if the two are in love. That's not what premarital is all about.
We haven't got much time, unfortunately.
Go for it.
But briefly, Professor Pepper Schwartz, professor of sociology at the University of Washington, well, I'm a great friend of hers.
Yes.
She says that men have dating fatigue, and as a result, they develop this aura of self-doubt and shyness when talking to women. How do men shake off this kind of fatigue?
There's many factors, but I'll tell you this. When men hear the word commitment, they don't see romance as a woman. They don't see this fairy tale, ever happy, ever after. They see a prison cell. And so what happens is, I think, first of all, men need to understand that there's a time and there's a place. And you got to be prepared as a person for this relationship, for this commitment. And that is what the scary thing is, that most men enter relationship for self-centered reasons. And this is why the negative consequences and the apprehension to this commitment. On the other hand, a woman wants commitment, but her way about getting it is where she needs a little bit more wisdom.
You know what, Shan? So many people have made dating a 2018 New Year's resolution. So I wish we had 30 more minutes for this interview, but unfortunately we have to end it there. But then thank you so much for coming through. I appreciate your time.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
That is Shan Thumbran talking to us about his relationship guidebook, Dating Readiness. Dating Readiness, what nobody has told you. Quite an interesting read, I must say. All right, it is 6 minutes before 9 o'clock. Let's take a short break.